Once the opportunity arose for him to close the show, and he did it in emphatic style.
Whatever he hits falls.
Andrew McCART, IFL TV, in association with MTK Global. I'm here in New York City. With me I've got the man himself, David Diamante. Are you the coolest man in boxing? I mean, the hat, the bow tie, cigars, motorbikes. I mean, what don't you do?
Just boxing, man. Just boxing. How you doing? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here in New York, man.
Oh man, I'm glad to be here. I mean, before we talk about anything, I've got to talk about the motorbikes. I know you've got like 3 motorbikes and stuff. Is it a passion of yours, motorbike, as well as the car business and the boxing side of things?
Massive passion of mine. I mean, I'm riding bikes since a little kid. I got 3 bikes. I ride all over the world, so I've ridden through El Salvador, I've ridden through Haiti, I've ridden through Dominican Republic, I rode from India up to Pakistan, I've ridden through Myanmar, I've ridden through Sri Lanka, I've ridden through Cambodia, Vietnam, all over the world, man. I ride my bikes all over the world.
You've got to take me one of these trips, man.
Yeah, anytime, man. We'll make a movie, man. That's it. Everyone watches Anthony Bourdain. I've been doing that for over 20 years.
I've got a camera.
Yeah, let's go.
Like, the reason why
forget the camera. You need a set of huevos to get on the bike.
You know what I mean? No problem.
That's it.
The reason why we're here, man, huge fight card here in your city, New York.
Yeah.
I mean, break it down for me. I mean, the top 3 fights of the card. Just tell me your thoughts on it.
Well, the Haney Abdullayev fight's a nice fight. You know, what's interesting, look, you look at it on paper and you think, obviously, Haney's going to blow this guy Abdullayev out of the water, and that might happen. Abdullayev, though, is a very tough guy. He's undefeated. He's from Yekaterinburg. The thing is, though, he's never really fought anyone. You know, you look at his fights, like, there's no one really of note on his ledger. And Haney, he looks to have the goods, but we never know who these guys are until they get put in the fire. You know what I mean? They gotta be tested. So like, exposure's great and all that, but like, you ain't nothing in boxing until you walk through the fire. And so it's gonna be interesting because really, you know, Haney looks special. Abdullayev is tough, but he looks pedestrian. But they are the #1 and the #2 ranked in the WBC, so that's a great thing, you know. And we'll see what happens, but we'll see really what's beneath their chest. Who's got the heart? Because sometimes a guy that looks pedestrian does the right things, and he's tough, and he's still there after you do all that flashy stuff. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I think Abdullayev is really coming to fight. The Hardy-Serrano fight, you know, the Battle of Brooklyn.
Your
featherweight.
Borough. It's your borough, isn't it, Brooklyn?
Yeah, it's my borough. I know both girls really well. I've done fights for both of them for many years. You know, obviously Amanda is the favorite in this fight. It's for the WBO Featherweight Championship of the World and the interim WBC. You know, obviously Amanda's the favorite in this fight. She's got that punch. You know, she's 7 division world champion, whatever. But she's amazing. It's going to be a tough fight for Heather, but we'll see. You know, we'll see what happens there. I really do like the Kuzmin Hunter fight. I think it's a great fight. You know, it's one of those fights where both guys are supremely confident. Both guys couldn't be more different than each other. It's just awesome. Like, I love that. You know, Michael Hunter, make no mistake, he's a tough motherfucker. He's tough, man. You know, his dad was a fighter. God rest his soul. His dad was a fighter, and you know, he's an Olympian, and you know, he beat Andy Ruiz Jr. in the amateurs. And a lot of people don't know he's got pedigree. He's got skill. He's tough, but he's also coming up from cruiserweights. He don't really have that size that some of these guys do. Kuzmin, man, from St. Petersburg, tough Russian. Like, you know, he's coming to win. He's coming to win. Both guys with these WBA titles, one intercontinental, one international. But man, it's 2 freight trains coming head to head. I do think, though, it's really actually not going to be that type of fight, because I think Hunter's going to more get on his bike and try to box. But we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. To sit and bang with him is going to be really tough. But the fight that I truly love on this card. Oh, there's a bunch of fights. So you've got Christian Martinez on this card. Goes by the name Kike, and
sorry to interrupt you. I noticed you had a lot of praise for him at yesterday's public workout. You mentioned him today at the thing. You've known him since he was a kid, is that right?
Yeah, so I used to train at a gym out in Bushwick. You know, I used to fight out there. He came in as an 8-year-old, and I remember him and Edgar Berlanga, you know, who's now a Top Rank, but they were little kids. Now he's making his pro debut at the Guard, and I'm really proud of him. You know, it was great to see him, man. So real proud of that guy. And also Magomedrazul Majidov, like this guy.
Well done on pronouncing that right.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, he's a big deal, man. You know, from Azerbaijan. He's from Baku, 3-time amateur world champion, 2-time Olympian, Olympic bronze medal winner. You know, his issue, though, he's older, turning pro so old. But again, they get all of those guys over there get paid as amateurs, so he didn't really need to turn pro.
Can you fast track him then? Do you think, for his amateur?
Well,
pedigree?
we have to see what he has, but yeah, I would think so. Absolutely, I would think so. At 33, I think you absolutely would. But I'm not the guy to move him. I'm just an announcer.
Yeah,
so
you're a very
what do I
good
know?
one at that.
But hold on,
Okay.
really important because I didn't get to my favorite fight yet. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much.
But who you're talking about here?
Lethal Larry Friars and Wesley El Bongo Cero Ferrer. These guys, you know, I love this fight. To me, it's a throwback fight. You know, fights like this, you know, back in the day, the old MSG, they used to have the Friday night fights, and Teddy Brenner was the matchmaker back then, and he used to make these like absolute wars. He really did. If you go back and look in the ledger of MSG, there's gonna be a ton of fighters you never even heard of. But back in the day, each New York neighborhood had a club. They had fighters that they supported, usually along ethnic lines, whether it was the Irish, the Italians, the Puerto Ricans. They would come out and support their charges. And this fight, you know, both of these guys, they're club fighters, man. They're probably not going to win world titles. You know, Larry Friars is once beaten. Ferrer's once beaten. I know both guys really well. I think they're both great. They both got hearts of a lion. They both want nothing more than to be world champ. So they're in it. You know, they're in it. But it's a crossroads fight. You know, being once beaten. Both these guys usually live on the A sides of cards. So they're used to having like their charges come out. So you got the Irish from New York, you got the Latinos from Brooklyn coming out, and it just makes for a great fight. This is a great match. It's a throwback fight. I love this fight, man. It's not even gonna be on TV, but it should be. This is a great fight. So I love the fight card. There's something really for everyone on it. It's gonna be an interesting night.
Well, let's talk about, like, you're from New York.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen.
Well, I'm from Baltimore originally. I was born in Baltimore, but yeah, I've been in New York a long time.
Well, this is where you live now, so to speak. Yeah. But you've announced out in the UK many a time. Do you know what the UK fans are like with public workouts and stuff?
Yeah.
So, do you feel like more passionate when you see fight cards come to New York and the US, maybe the Baltimore side of things and Madison Square Garden?
Well, it's hard not to like love your own thing, right? I get real crazy about it. But at the same time, though, it's really about the sport. Like I get really taken away by, no matter where I am, it depends really on the context of the actual fight. If it means something and there's something real there, and I feel that passion from the fans and from the environment, then yeah, I'm in it no matter what. But yeah, it's always a little something extra when it's in a place like a DC or a Baltimore or New York, you know, or even San Francisco. I used to live out in the Bay. You know, there's something about that. So it's an interesting thing. And speaking of Haney, you know, he's originally from the Bay.
Honestly, I thought he was from Vegas.
Yeah, but he's from the Bay originally. Right, okay. Yeah, he was born in San Francisco, lived in Oakland until he was like 6, moved out to Vegas, and that's where he was raised.
I'll put you in a spot with Devin Haney then. Is he ready for Lomachenko next? Being that he's only 20 years old, and I know he doesn't want to be that prospect tag on him, but do you think he's ready?
I mean, we'll see. You know, this is the thing though. You know, back in the day, guys had so many fights before you'd really call him something special. And you know, you look at a guy like Lomachenko, and he is high tech. He's amazing. He's an amazing fighter. You know, he does things that we haven't seen. He's a special fighter. But like, you want in boxing, like the real stuff, you want to see guys tested. Yeah. You know, and I want to see him fight Garcia. I want to see him fight Tank Davis. I want to see him fight these guys. I know that the weight divisions are a little bit off, but they're not so far away. I think these fights can be made, and I think the fans want these fights, and the fans need to ask for these fights. That's how these fights get made. So the fans out there watching, you got to ask for these fights, man. You guys are the one that dictate this stuff. So if the fans are saying like, yo, we're sick of seeing these guys fight this guy, we want to see him fight. You know, the guys will make those fights, and I hope those fights get made. So is Haney ready for that? I don't know yet. You've got Teofimo Lopez, you've got Shakur Stevenson, you got Ryan Garcia, you got all these young prospects coming up. It's an interesting landscape out there. You know, again, like all these guys have the flash, and it looks great on the internet to punch a bag and do all these great things. But like once you're in the ring with someone punching back, what's right here? And what happens when you get tapped in the mouth really hard? How do you respond to that? That's what's the difference. So I want all these guys to fight. This is beautiful.
I see the smile on your face. You're very passionate about this.
Yeah,
sport, so.
I think it's going to be exciting. So we'll see what happens.
Finally, then, I've got to ask you, I'll be remiss not to. Joshua Ruiz, too, out in Saudi Arabia. Just what's your thoughts on the rematch?
Well, what a fight. What a fight this was going to be. I mean, to me, this is the largest fight on the planet. There's nothing like heavyweight boxing. One punch can change everything. We know this. We've seen this.
We've seen it the last fight. Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, it wasn't just one punch though. I mean, watch the fight. You know, Ruiz backed Joshua up from jump, you know, and Joshua was like just kind of lazily putting his jab out there. Man, it's got to be stiff. You got to bring it back, you know. I sparred with Junior Jones many years ago, and fellow Brooklynite, This is a long time ago. But Junior used to say, you know how you're supposed to throw a jab? He said, imagine you got a pile of money, $100 bill right there, but it's all fire around. How would you grab it?
Bring it right back.
Get out there and bring it back. Get it out of that fire.
Yeah.
It's a great analogy. Junior taught me that back when we used to spar. And, you know, so this is the thing, like, Anthony is so much bigger. He's got that reach. He's stronger. Man, pop your jab. Look at Klitschko, look at Lennox Lewis, double jab right hand. It's not that deep. I mean, it's easier said than done, because I think if he does that, I think Ruiz is expecting him. I think you're going to see better versions of both fighters. I think you're going to have a different fight this time. It's going to be a different fight either way. I don't know if it's going to be a different result, but you're going to have a different fight. I think you got different fighters in it. I think you're going to see a better Ruiz, you're going to see a better Joshua. It's going to be a very interesting fight, but I think Ruiz is expecting Joshua to do that, and I think he moves so well. His hands are so good, and his feet are a lot quicker than people give him credit for. He's going to pepper his body. He's going to pepper his head. He's great at not being able to be held. He knows how to punch out of the clinch. He's a dangerous foe. And, you know, it's all about styles make fights. Everyone says that, but there's a lot more to that than just saying it. You know, certain guys' styles don't match up well with other guys. If Joshua does lose this fight, I'm not saying he's going to, but if he does, he's a tough fighter. Joshua's a great fighter. There's still many other fights for him out there with other guys that could be great. Doesn't mean he's done. People are like, oh, if he loses this, he's done. I don't think he's done. I think it's important, but he's not done. You know, and Ruiz, same thing. Maybe Ruiz has his number. They wanted this fight because they saw that. Yeah. They're like, this guy's big and slow. We can get in there. We can do this. So, you know, they think they're quicker and they're faster, and they have been so far. So that's what's really interesting. But that doesn't mean, like, look at Hunter. Hunter and Ruiz would make a nice fight. But does that mean Hunter and Joshua? Maybe not. So it's all about styles make fights. So it's going to be a very interesting fight. I can't wait to see it. Biggest fight in the world, Saudi Arabia. I will be there, and man, everyone should be watching.
You will be there. You mentioned the numerous countries that you've traveled. You ever been to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, twice.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, twice.
Is there anywhere you've not been?
Yeah, of course.
That's the easier question.
I was, the first time I was ever in Saudi Arabia was in '97. That's a long story. But I went back for the very first.
For another time.
That's for another time. It's another IFL exclusive. You know, I did the Callum Smith George Groves fight out there. That was the very first fight ever in Saudi Arabia, in the KSA, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. That was really good. It was cool because the fans, they didn't know what they were watching. But they did, because fighting's primal, man. Yeah. You don't need a guide. People knew. They were watching. It was great. I love the fans out in Saudi because they would watch the fight, and this is just off the bat. Guys would start punching, and they'd start cheering.
Shadow boxing in the crowd, yeah?
They weren't shadow boxing, but they were cheering, you know, cheering. And then there'd be like a lull, and they'd start booing. And I was like, yeah, it's like a New York crowd. You know, that's like a knowledgeable fight crowd, but they instinctively knew. Yeah. It's fighting, man. This is primal. It's like music. Like, we all got a heartbeat. We all have music in us. We all got fight in us.
Exactly. My final question: KSI, Logan Paul, you doing there?
Yeah, I'll be out there. Yeah, I'll be out there. What's the question?
Just, would you be out there? And you're gonna
I'll be out there, man.
MCing for that fight?
I'll be out there.
What's your thoughts on it then?
Well, I mean,
it's getting a lot of stick because it's like two YouTubers coming out, turning pro and doing all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but
professionals are struggling, like young professionals have got to earn their sort of stripes, so to speak, and they're just jumping straight into it. But
yeah, but check it. It's not even about that. It's more about entertainment. I mean, the thing is, these guys are huge stars. Now, I'm going to be really fair. I don't know anything about these guys except that they're YouTube stars. So
I'm a YouTube star.
And you're huge.
Get me on an undercard.
That's it. That's right. But I mean, it's really about fame, right? It's obviously not about skill. Although supposedly these guys, I heard that the first fight, these guys were pretty tough. So and Eddie's going to make them, you know, go to 10-ounce gloves, take the headgear off, turn pro. Right. So like, do it right. If you're going to do it right, and that's great. But like, why hate? Like, you know, Mayweather makes all this money compared to other guys, but he's got the fame. If you could do it, why hate? Like, be happy for him. I'm happy that they're doing it. If it brings more eyes to boxing, that's good for all of us. Look, rising water lifts all boats, right? So to me, it's not about, you know, PBC or DAZN or Top Rank or ESPN. It's all of it. Rising water lifts all boats, man. I love boxing. So that's how people should be, and that should go with the same with this. Like, it's going to give there's going to be a lot of guys on the undercard that need eyes on them, and supposedly these guys have all these viewers, so that's great. It's going to bring eyes to the boxing world, so I'm happy for that.
I'll probably echo that as well. I'll probably share what you just said there, but I know you're a busy man, you're probably going to go home and... in fact, how's the cigar lounge coming on? I knew you were getting it renovated, how's that?
Yeah, I'm opening up a new spot. I'm opening up a new spot close to Madison Square Garden, but when it's time, I'll let you know, but just keep that in mind. So when all you guys come over for the fights,
hopefully, so
yeah, we'll be at the Garden. We'll come right over, man. It's really close to MSG.
IFL exclusive again, man.
Boom.
Look at this.
Diamante's at the Garden. It's going to be really good.
I'm looking forward to that. Well, yeah. David, as always, thank you for doing this FightFL TV,
really
and I'll see you tomorrow at the weigh-in.
Yeah, thanks
much,
guys.
man.
All right, guys, take care. We'll see you later.
See you later, David.
Yeah, man.
Once the opportunity arose for him to close the show, and he did it in emphatic style.
Whatever he hits falls.